Hello and welcome back to Heart of the Hole. Today we'll be discussing Aston Villa's new ownership and the fact that Steve Bruce is staying on to be Aston Villa's manager for the foreseeable future. Now yesterday it was announced that Steve Bruce would in fact stay on as manager and Thierry Henry would not be replacing him, which seemed to split the fans' opinions. Of course, there were quite a few people on Twitter that were quite looking forward to Thierry Henry and wanting Bruce out. Me personally, I was quite intrigued by the thought of having Thierry Henry manage Aston Villa. I thought having a fresh guy, youthful, fresh ideas would be quite good for the side, and obviously managing under two of the best coaches of all time in Pep Guardiola and Arsene Wenger, I thought it could have potentially been a good decision. It's not meant to be because the owners have allowed Steve Bruce to stay on for the foreseeable future in charge of Aston Villa, and they announced this just before our game last night against Walsall, where Steve Bruce met the owners, had the final crunch talks, and whatever he said, he's managed to convince them. So whatever happens, we've got to get behind the team now and Steve Bruce and hope for a successful campaign this season. Edens and Sawiris both seem like pretty cutthroat guys, so I think Steve Bruce must have really sold it to them what he wanted to do, because although Steve has stabilised the ship, and I'm a fan of stability, ultimately he failed in getting Aston Villa promoted last season through the playoff final.
So, as you know, there will be bumps along the road. A bump this week in terms of a coaching change. How do you navigate through those yourself when you look at that and making those decisions?
Well, you know, Coach Kidd did a wonderful job. He was here for 3.5 years, and we had a lot of success from where the team started to where we are. We've done a lot of things that we liked, but we haven't won a championship yet. And sometimes if you want to make change, the only change you can make is at the top. It's not like you're going to move out one of the assistant coaches or whatever. And so that was that's a difficult thing to say and to do. But if you really are true to what your ambitions are and what the objectives are for the team and the organization you're trying to build, then the standards are pretty high, and then you just have to make and act on those things.
One of the toughest decisions you've had to make as an owner?
For sure, because Jason's a friend, right? I very enjoy spending time with him. He's a very talented guy. I'm sure he'll go on to do a lot more. I mean, so he'll be in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure, when it inducts people this summer. There's just a lot to like there. But I thought for the organization to grow and move in the way that we wanted, we needed to have a change and try something else. And, you know, we'll find out. But I'm pretty optimistic about it.
As I say, I still think we need stability around the club. I have gone on the record and said this for a while. And Steve Bruce and stability do both go hand in hand. Although I would have liked Thierry Henry, it's not meant to be. However, I do think that with how cutthroat Sawiris and Edens both are, that it could be December. If we're not in the top 6, then it's curtains for Steve Bruce. I think with these two guys now in charge, obviously Tony's moving down because these guys have the majority of the sharehold. We're going to see a very different Aston Villa, very cutthroat. I think Tony's let Bruce get away with quite a lot. He's also let him spend a lot of money on players such as Scott Hogan and Henry Lansbury, both of which I like, he's not really featured. They've not really played, whether that be through injury or just not playing fitting the playing style. Obviously it's clear as day that Steve Bruce is never going to play Scott Hogan the way Hogan wants to play him, which is unfortunate because as I say, I'm a big fan of Hogan. I think although the owners both have a lot of money, we're not going to see a lot being spent, obviously, because we've got to live within the restraints of FFP. Though I do think the situation now obviously is so much better that we've got these investors, because 2 weeks ago we were looking at not being able to afford to pay wages and whatnot, going into fears of administration, selling our best players. I think now we could be much more confident in keeping the likes of Jack Grealish and James Chester, who've really been the spine of the team, because we've already lost a lot in Snodgrass, Terry and Johnston, all departing the club. So ultimately I think under Steve Bruce, you know, we're not going to get relegated. Obviously that's never going to be a threat, I wouldn't say, for Villa. Although with the squad, I think we've got a capable squad. We're probably going to be looking at mid-table. I think it's going to be hard to get ourselves into them playoff places again. And as I say, if by December we're not in the top 6, I reckon it'll be curtains for Bruce and we'll be looking at someone else to come in. Regardless of who's coming in, it doesn't going to look like we're going to be making many signings, and we're looking very thin in the back. I think we could do with a new centre-back and left-back potentially. But obviously, as I say, got to operate within what we can. Doesn't look like we'll be making many signings, so we're going to have to be putting the faith in our young lads. Either way, we've got to support the team, get behind them, get there every week, supporting, singing, because this club is going to need the support at the minute. The season ticket sales have gone through the roof apparently. The kit's been really well received. There's lots of things to be happy about for Aston Villa right now, and I for one I'm absolutely buzzing for the season to start. If you like this video, please hit the like button, as it does help us out, and comment your thoughts below on us keeping Steve Bruce as the manager. Obviously it split the fans' decision. Quite a lot of people wanted Henry in and Bruce out. Let us know what you thought, and also subscribe to the channel, as we're getting a lot more regular content out recently, and we're really enjoying doing that. So thank you guys, and up the Villa.